Hey there, everybody. It's me, your buddy Dave, the host of the Dark Stuff channel on YouTube. Thanks a lot for checking out my latest video. This week's video is, Dark Stuff Classic. Yeah, Dark Stuff Classic. I like that. One of my favorite bands in the whole world is Yo La Tengo. And as I'm talking to you right now in March of 2023, they have a new album out called This Stupid World. And it kind of reminded me of the time when I interviewed Ira Kaplan for my radio show. I interviewed Ira back in October of 2006. Okay, so Yo La Tengo's new album back at that time was this album called I Am Not Afraid of You and I Will Beat Your Ass. Okay, that was the new record at the time. I landed this interview with Ira because Yo La Tengo had never performed in Omaha at that time. They'd been a band for 20 years, yet they'd never actually performed in Omaha. He said they played Lincoln once in the 90s, but never in Omaha. So I think because this was their first appearance, I got the interview. The interview almost didn't happen because back then I did the show live, but I was expressly forbidden from having any live guest come on the air or any do a live interview over the phone or anything like that. Live, absolutely not. I had to do it pre-recorded and then put it into the show. They were very concerned about, the FCC and all of that, and that's still a valid concern. A couple days before the show, I was going back and forth with the Matador guy, and I was explaining, okay, I have to do it early. If you want to call me on Sunday when I'm going to do the show, that's great, but I go on the air at 9. I'd like to do this at about 7 o'clock. And we're going back and forth and playing phone tag. And bottom line is, by Sunday, I didn't think it was happening because nothing was confirmed. I didn't have a specific time, so I assumed the interview was off and planned the show accordingly. I find out about a little bit before 9 when I'm about to go on the air that Ira is intending to go on, and what's the number that he calls in at, or whatever. And I was just like, holy shit. I had sort of thought, even though Ira Kaplan is one of my musical idols, I had sort of decided I wasn't going to do the interview and I was sort of just going to move on. It wasn't meant to be. And now he's going to be calling in a few minutes. But not only that, I was forbidden from going live. I didn't even know technically how to do it because I'd never done it before, right? But I found somebody else at the station, and I guess they thought I had the authority to do this, but I was like, can you show me how to rope a call in? And he did it, and he set it up for me, and I went live on the air with Ira Kaplan. The interview is only about 10 minutes because I was scared to death that my program director would tune in, listen to me doing a live interview, realize what I was doing, and then I would be fired. So I didn't want to get caught, but I just couldn't pass up the opportunity. And I figured if I'm going to get fired from this radio show, at least I got fired for a good reason, because I did an interview with the guy from Yo La Tengo. But I didn't get fired. I'm still there. I still do the show. It didn't actually happen. This interview doesn't rank as one of my favorites because of the lack of preparation. I just kind of had to go for it. I didn't know that it was happening, and I had to do it really fast because I did not want to get in any trouble. Having said all that, here's the interview back from October 2006. This is me and Ira Kaplan. As promised, we have Mr. Ira Kaplan from Yo La Tengo. He is the guitar player and the singer of the band. And Ira, can you say hello for us?
Hi there.
Okay, so hopefully everyone can hear that. I'm not the most technically gifted guy in the at the station here, so sometimes, I goof up a little bit on the technical stuff.
Well, I hear you, and so.
Well, I think that's good enough. I'm gonna say we're working here, so that's good. Okay, well, for those who do not know, Yo La Tengo is coming here October 8th. That is 1 week from tonight. So you do have your choice. You can listen to the Unity Rising show or you can see Yo La Tengo, but I think I know what most people are going to be doing that night, including myself. Just kidding. Let's get right into the questions. You have a brand new album. We just played the new single, Mr. Tough. The album is called I Am Not Afraid of You and I Will Beat Your Ass. Now, that is a pretty, I don't know if provocative is the right word, but tell me where you're coming from with that.
Well, I like provocative because people have said other words about it, but I think it is provocative.
Yeah, you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, and frankly, we don't really like the idea of explaining it too much beyond that. I think it kind of I mean, I know, shows like yours introduces us to people who haven't heard us before, but I think it's kind of the most interesting way to learn about a band, to kind of let it unfold slowly rather than to kind of get right, this is the group that does this, and then it's all kind of laid out for you. And I think as people either already are familiar with us or learn about us, I think the name fits in
all right. Well,
a myriad of ways.
Now, here's a question I wanted to ask you. Now, you guys have been a band for over 20 years, and as far as I know, you have never played in the Omaha area. Now,
yeah, that's correct.
Now, why is that? You've been a band. This is a great indie scene. Of course, you've heard about Bright Eyes and Cursive and all the great bands from here. Where have you guys been for the last 20 years?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just the way things shake out. I mean, we actually played Lincoln in 1995, I think it was.
Okay.
That's the extent of our Omaha World Tour. I mean, Nebraska World Tour.
Yeah, that's close enough. That's about 40 minutes. That's good.
But I don't know. It's just one of those things. And I mean, I guess some of the the bands you mentioned are all kind of more recent, and we haven't done a huge amount of touring in the last. We did a lot of touring in 2003, and so I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I just had to give you a little grief about it since there's a lot. You do have a lot of fans in this town. There's no question about that. So a lot of people who've been waiting a long time to see. We were talking off the air that I personally haven't seen the band since 1995, so I'm extremely looking forward to it.
Well, we are too. I mean, in setting up any tour, there's always. I mean, every day we get emails saying, "Why aren't you playing? Here? Why aren't you playing there?" And our answer is always the same. You can't be everywhere at once. And but it is exciting to us to go to places that we've never been before, and we were all looking forward to the show.
Now, how long is the tour? You mentioned you've been your tour's been a little bit lighter over the last couple of years. How long is this current one that you're on?
Well, it depends how you define it. We're out for a month, then we go home for a week. We go to Europe for a month, and then we come back. We got some stuff to do at home in December, and then we'll go out again. So you could say it's a month, or you could say it's a year. Either would be accurate.
Okay, fair enough.
I wanted to tell you, we actually covered New Day Rising once. We were playing in Philadelphia on New Year's Eve, and we were in the middle of like a long version of one of our songs, and we had a very elaborate way of finding out exactly when it was midnight. And at the stroke of midnight, we went to New Day Rising. That was our...
Excellent. Was there something recording that when you played it? I mean, is it out there anywhere that people can look around on the internet, and maybe how everything is on the internet?
It might be. Yeah, I think that's in that sense it probably is. It does seem like there's a lot of our stuff circulating, but
well, we were talking
that I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
That's right.
Now, when you have so much material, I mean, you guys have been a band for 20 years, 20 plus years actually. When you approaching a tour, how do you decide what stuff you're going to play and what stuff you're not going to play? Because it seems to me that when you have as much material as you do and as many classic songs, somebody's going to be a little bit disappointed. Oh, you didn't play Tom Courtenay. Oh, you didn't play whatever. How do you guys determine what to put in a set?
I think that's true. I mean, basically everything's in play. I mean, there's a few songs that we don't know how to play as a trio. We've never approached our live shows in a way that they should sound exactly like the record. And the record, we don't worry about how we play it live. So, like on the current record, there's a few songs that we're not doing yet, and each record has a few that we, really just will never play. But basically, we can play anything at any show, and so we just try to do a mixture. Obviously, we'll be concentrating on the new record, but we'll try to mix in some of the, the more our better-known songs, and then songs that maybe people who have seen us before might not have heard us play before. It's just, but every show is different.
Okay. Now, what do you think of the current state of independent music as it stands right now in 2006? I always want to ask bands this because, I'm torn. I don't really know. I think there's a lot of great stuff out there. We're in sort of a transition period. I like to say it's sort of like 89, 90 was, right before the sort of, things were starting to really line up in terms of a lot of really great music coming out, and it was just barely beginning to get noticed, above the mainstream threshold there. And usually when times are sort of conservative or politics are kind of conservative, music tends to get, at least historically,
better. You know what I mean? Like there's this protest feel to it, or something, you know, for lack of a better word. What do you think about the current state of independent music right now?
Well, I gotta say, I think that's probably something that you spend more time thinking about than I do.
Yeah.
You know, I think we.
Do you identify yourself with any sort of scene, or is it Yo La Tengo exists in its own world?
Except for how pretentious that sounds, I would say that's true. I mean, I think we've always kind of bristled at almost any description. I mean, I think a lot of bands are like that, but you know, if somebody asked me, I'd just say we're a rock band. You know, any kind of the categories I don't think help. They don't do much for us.
Right. Okay. Well, what are you guys listening to in the van lately? What have you been listening to?
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think. I was listening to right before we left. We're good friends with Mac McCon from Portastatic and Superchunk and Merge. He sent us some of their new records, so we listened to some of the new Portastatic stuff. And right before we left on tour, we got to see Lamb Chop also from the Merge stable of stars. The New York Dolls actually played Hoboken, a street fair.
Now, what do you think of that new record, the new New York Dolls record?
I haven't heard it. You know, I've seen them do those songs. I've seen them like 3 times recently. So I've heard a lot of the songs live, but I haven't heard the record. I like.
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, I'm not old enough to have been around when the Dolls were, you know, originally there, but you know, like a lot of people, I probably questioned, well, how could you have the New York Dolls without Johnny Thunders? But I don't know. It's a pretty solid record. I kind of like it.
I'm not surprised to hear that. That one song is like "We're All in Love." Is that what
yeah, "We're All in Love."
That song.
Yeah, I think that's Michael Stipe might be on backup vocals or something on that one. I think so.
He didn't make the Hoboken Street Fair.
No, he was busy some political protest or something like that.
I got to say, I recently kind of, because we've been seeing some doll shows, I saw that Bob Gruen DVD of some of their really old playing, and you know, as good a job as I think Steve Conti's doing. I mean, Johnny Thunders is pretty much irreplaceable. I mean,
oh, sure, absolutely.
That sound is really one of a kind.
Well, I'm sure they're much more consistent these days.
Yes, I would imagine.
Okay, well, we're going to kind of wrap it up here a little bit. I just want everyone to know. Well, first I wanted to ask you one last question. Tell us about the band Why that it is opening for you guys next week.
Okay, in fact, I just found out that they're from Cincinnati, but they're transplanted to Oakland. A almost indescribable band to me. There's 3 of them. One of them plays drums and vibraphone simultaneously, or maybe it's a xylophone, and then his brother is the lead singer, and he plays keyboard and percussion and snare drum, and then there's this really amazing multi-instrumentalist who plays guitar, Wurlitzer piano, and bass pedals. And just, even though, I mean, the songs there's a kind of a rapping aspect to them, but they're also really poppy and orchestral in the way they're written. I mean, it's I would say a unique sound. They're really amazing.
Okay, well, that is the scoop on Why. Now, just so everybody knows, Yo La Tengo is playing a week from tonight, Sunday, October 8th, at Sokol Underground. The concert starts at 9 o'clock. The opening band is Why. Tickets are $15. If you need any more information, you can go to 1%productions.com. That's, I believe, where you can buy tickets through them, or probably at Homer's or wherever you would go to get your normal tickets. Yo La Tengo's newest CD is called I Am Not Afraid of You, and I Will Beat Your Ass. It is out now on Matador Records. The new single is called Mr. Tough. We just heard it. We're going to go back a ways for Yo La Tengo. We're going to go to, I believe, 1997's album, I Can Hear the Heartbeat is one. We're going to play a song called Autumn Sweater right now on 89.7 The River on New Day Rising. And thanks a lot to Ira Kaplan from Yo La Tengo.
Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.